Listen, bro, you don't have to sign that governmental contract to say that you're in love with this lady, bro. You don't have to get married.
Now, men need marriage more than women need it. Who is marriage good for? Who's it serving more, men or women?
Now, men.
I think that's true. For a man, a wife may be the only confidant. That's not true for women. Women have much better social support.
When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
Oh, men. Marriage benefits men. Still benefits men more. Back in the past, it benefited men more. It still benefits men more now.
If you were 20 years old today, what would you do?
Maybe I wouldn't get married and have children. I wouldn't put children in this world.
Do men ever change?
No, never.
Never, ever.
Never.
Really?
Stubborn, impossible.
The way that men are men's worst enemy, it should be studied because I hear men get online and lie through their fucking teeth every day just for clout. Just for clout. They just get online and just lie for clout, lie for attention, lie for clout, say the most destructive things ever to men about women a lot of times, but to men directly. And they do it like just for the attention and admiration of men. But they also do it to the detriment of men, at the detriment of men, I should say. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm like, why would you guys go out of your way to harm men? And then and then you guys like claim to love men. Like, it doesn't, just for like short-term gratification, right? You're just getting short-term gratification, but you're causing a long-term issue, But it just goes to show you the lack of empathy, the lack of self-awareness that men have, and how misandrous men are. Like, men are really the real misandrous, but this is like what men are running around telling other men on the internet.
Listen, bro, you don't have to sign that governmental contract to say that you're in love with this lady, bro. You don't have to get married. Our generation is finally waking up to that. Our previous generations just did it just because. And the older generation always want to talk to us and be like, you should get married because it's under God. But God never told you had to sign documents with the government, big dog. Like, religion never told me that the majority.
That's false. Again, in the Christian faith, Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and you should follow the law of the land. Like, that's literally in the Bible. And the Bible, so since marriage is not a religious institution, if you would like to be married, you need to follow the law of the land. Jesus said it out of his own mouth if you believe in such a person. So you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Sign documents with the government, big dog. Like, religion never told me that the majority of divorces were initiated by women, big dog.
The fuck does that have to do with the
religion?
What the fuck are you talking about? We're going to get into that in a minute.
Never told me that the child court is still the same way that it was 50, 60 years ago, big dog. So if I get divorced, I might only be able to see my children 2 times out of the week, big dog. So there are people who are outside of this union between you and your wife that get to tell you, as the man who worked and provided and stressed out and figured out a way to provide for this family, that you will only be able to see the human beings that you helped create 2 times a week and maybe 1 month in the summer. That don't sound like a good deal, big dog.
Okay, so I'm not here telling men to get married. That's not what I'm saying. I don't care if you get married or you don't. I'm just here to correct the record. That's it. First and foremost, I already got to one part of it. The business of marriage. If marriage is a business, then that makes it an institution. Businesses have licenses, by the way. To be a business, you have to have a license. To be married, you have to have a license. So you need to get those people involved. You need that white man's paperwork in this country. That's just what it is. Then let's take it back to the beginning. He made a bold claim that our previous generations got married just because. No. They didn't get married just because. The previous generations, as well as the current generations of men, are getting married for specific reasons, right? But overall, they're getting married for this one reason, this one truth. Three different men. Listen, three different men.
Now, men need marriage more than women need it. The things that men get from marriage, the sort of stereotypical things, are still really important for the man. But the things stereotypically a woman was getting from the marriage, she now doesn't actually need that stuff from a man. She can kind of get that herself because society's shifted where it's not a case that the woman stays at home and raises the kids all the time. Now the woman's got her own money, her own independence. She can leave you.
I think that's true. For a man, a wife may be the only confidant. That's not true for women. Women have much better social support. But men and women both equally need high quality relationships, which is a different conclusion, really. Both men and women really need committed, loving relationship. But, guys can survive in a relationship that is not as good and they can get a lot out of it.
Well,
Whereas women can't.
Guys can survive in a shitty relationship because they're still getting something out of it. I'm sorry, there's two men saying that. I agree with the high quality part, but that's two men, my bad. So it's going to be four men total. Watch.
Who is marriage good for? Who's it serving more, men or women?
Now, men.
Because I was thinking, if we pressed a button and the marriage stats went backwards in time, i.e. more people got married and they gave birth within marriages, would that be better for men or women?
It'd be better for men.
Why?
Because being with the kids and kind of with the mum is just right now still an incredibly important way for men to feel needed, connected, involved, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Men. Marriage benefits men. Still benefits men more. Back in the past, it benefited men more. It still benefits men more now. The only reason it was even close to benefiting women at all back in the past was because of how the system was set up against women to restrict them, where they couldn't work, they couldn't go to school, they couldn't leave, they couldn't own property, they couldn't drive cars. So yeah, they had to have a man to have access to those things. That was the only reason. It was artificial the whole time. But once you remove those barriers, it overwhelmingly benefits men, right? Now that's three men, by the way. Let's keep going.
Men need relationships. They need it more than women. There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s who didn't find romantic love and is now living with cats. The reality is she's fine.
Yeah.
When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
What this dude is doing, he doesn't have a woman, he doesn't have a wife, and he's pouring all of his extra energy into misogyny, into conspiracy theories, into misinformation. He is the man that Scott Galloway was referencing. Now, we know that Scott Galloway also, basically is just trying to get women to lower their standards and be with men. Just hey, man, society is dangerous as long as these men don't have any vagina. And he's right, but it's not the woman's job to fix it, right? That's the only problem in his stance. But when he's right, he's right. He was 100% right. Now you have all of these men saying the same fucking thing, and it makes sense. You see, when they say the things that they say, historically it makes sense. Currently it makes sense. Scientifically it makes sense. Society, like everything they say makes. I'm like, yes. Without a study involved, I'm like, yes, no, that makes sense. That's exactly what I know to be true about me. Men will stay in unhealthy relationships. Why would a man stay in an unhealthy relationship? Because it's benefiting him still. So even in unhealthy relationships, it's benefiting a man. So you mean to tell me in a healthy relationship, it's not benefiting? And then you wonder why women don't want to deal with men nowadays. And then you wonder why women that have dealt with men feel like this about men. When you listen to like that young man in the beginning, who is just a continuation of the older men that lie to younger men, right? Because he been lied to, and now he up here lying. The older men, I wouldn't get married again. And da, 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 da. The only men that say that type of shit are men whose wives left them. No man that was he himself healthy and treated his wife healthily is up here talking about I will never get married again, and these hoes ain't worth it, and all these women in 304s and they just gonna steal your money. No man is saying that. But I hear the average woman is talking like this about men.
If you were 20 years old today, what would you do?
Maybe I wouldn't get married and have children. I wouldn't put children in this world. Sorry.
No.
No, not the way it's going at the moment.
If you guys are 20 today, what would you do?
Oh, would never get married. Too young, far too young.
Yeah.
I was married when I was 20, so
Married when you were 20?
yeah.
Do you think it's a good thing that people are getting married later now?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Get a little bit of life. I feel you never really had much of life. Where now young people, they've got more for them.
There's more opportunity, there's more things to do.
Yes.
I think I just got married too young. I think I could have done more if I hadn't got married so young.
Yeah, probably got married too young.
Yeah.
Listen again. If you listen to what the men are saying, the men that just said that, how men benefit from marriage, you should be able to connect the dot between what these women are saying. So the reason why men benefit greatly from marriage is because of these women, because of all the labor that these women put into the relationship and into the marriage. So they spend their whole lives serving the men, right? So the men are benefiting. The men are building themselves up. They're going to college. They're getting the degrees. They're going to work. They're going in the workforce. They're making more money than they ever would have if they didn't have this woman. And then when they come home, they have a family. They have that purpose that other gentleman was talking about, saying like men benefit from having women and children in the home because it gives them it scratches that itch of a purpose, which helps with your mental health and helps you become and maintain a level of productivity that you wouldn't otherwise be able to maintain if you were single. And we see it all the time. You can look up the term NEETs, N-E-E-T-S. So that's what's going on, right? You can connect that dot all day from what these women are saying. And then the women are essentially telling the younger women, like, yeah, don't get married so young. They're not even saying don't get married. They're just saying, like, don't get married so young. Establish something, get a foundation, get an education, get a job, protect yourself financially. That's what I'm getting from this, and make your mark, right? Establish your legacy, devoid of children and a man. These women didn't get a chance to do that. And a lot of women don't. Even when they get married later, a lot of women don't. But go back to the Aisha Curry situation. Aisha Curry and Steph Curry got married in their 20s. And you see what she's saying now, similar things. Like, yeah, I never got a chance to establish myself. And now my whole identity is this man's wife and these children's mother. Right? Cool.
It's interesting because that seems to be the way things are going now, is that people are marrying a lot later than what.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's good.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I do. I think that's a good idea. I think for women in especially, is to get your career in place, get your independence, your finances in place before anything else.
I would stay single, have boyfriends or partners, but I wouldn't move together or anything. Just have your own place. Do what you want.
If marriage is so beneficial to men, why do so many women talk about how they don't want to be like married women who either are currently married, widowed, or divorced? Talk about how if they could do it all over again, they wouldn't get married again, or they would have boyfriends, partners. They wouldn't move in with the person. Why do you think they're saying that? Again, they're saying that because women do so much labor in the relationship versus what the man does. All the man has to do was go out to work. So all that, like the young man was talking about, lying to the men, saying like, oh, so you mean to tell me when I'm providing and da-da-da-da, all y'all always talk about is providership, because that's easy, because all you got to do is go to work, and everybody got to go to fucking work anyway. So that ain't doing shit. So you mean to tell me if I make some money, then I don't have but I get to neglect just because I'm making some money, I get to neglect my family. And then if my wife leaves me, then you telling me I don't get to see my kids but twice a week, which also isn't true. Men choose not to see their kids twice a week. The reason why you only see your kids twice a week, I just had a dude on that was talking about he got 2 different baby mamas and he sees his kids when he can see them. Why? You see your kids when you can see them because the mother is taking care of them. If you were tasked with the responsibility of taking care of your kids, you would have to see them every day. The mama doesn't get to see them only twice a week or when she can. She has to see them every day or them babies die. You get to not see them. You get to see them only twice a week. That is a decision. Women are not locking the men out. Be fucking for real.
Do men ever change?
No, never.
Never, ever.
Never.
Really?
Stubborn, impossible.
How do you know that they're stubborn and impossible? You just know experience?
History.
History? Who wrote the book? You?
Experience.
You and the girls wrote the book?
Well, I don't know about that, but they don't. And if they're difficult at a younger age, they get more difficult as they get older.
You know what? I just listened to a podcast. They said all testosterone does is make you more of what you are.
That's correct.
You've seen that in practice.
Yeah, men, they don't change. If they're cheap when they're young, they're cheaper when they get older.
You're getting nothing.
If they're stubborn when they're young, they get more stubborn as they get older.
Okay, if they're stubborn when they're, it's just not happening.
It's a rare man, rare.
Do you feel like they have to see God to change? You know, like some life-altering thing? Is that when it happens? Or it's just luck of the draw?
No, I think it's the luck of the draw.
So you got like 60, 70-year-old women really breaking down like what's going on with men versus like a child, a 20-something-year-old child giving advice to grown men, talking about, you don't get married, big dog. Don't get married, big dog. These women, oh, da 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 da. Like, men hate men, bro. Y'all hate men. Again, I'm not telling men to get married. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is stop lying about marriage, though. You see what I'm saying? Stop lying to other men about marriage. Don't do that. These two things are connected. The reason why marriages are shitty is because of men like him who think like him, who begrudgingly get married a lot of times. And then they get into the marriages and they don't treat the women correctly. And they turn those women in those relationships to these women.
I think some men are just more open.
Yeah.
And some men they have blinders.
Yeah.
And they don't expand the blinders.
Okay.
They stay like this. Could be therapy. It could be an influential person.
There's intervention.
There's an intervention.
There's an intervention that is necessary in order.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
What changed me besides my wife was my kids, was me knowing that I needed to be the best version of myself for my children, for sure. That played a huge role. Like I genuinely, like I love my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my wife, but I love my kids a lot. And my wife signed up to be with me, but my children didn't, you know? So my wife and I both know that we owe them everything, you know? And a part of that was me being the best version of myself, me making sure that I show up for my wife better or the best, you know, to the best of my capabilities and possibilities. And I show up for my children and so on and so forth because they're my children. Like they don't have to be here. They didn't ask to be here. You know what I mean? Like, but they're here. So, you know, let's put our best foot forward. And a lot of men, because they see children and women as property, they don't ever really develop the desire to want to grow. Right. And we know that everybody, men and women, become more, what's the opposite of progressive? They become more conservative the older they get. And conservatism is the death of relationships. Conservative mindsets and conservatism is the death of progress in the world. It really is. So it kind of, like she said, like if you're stingy in the beginning, you become more stingy because you become more conservative. You become more resentful. You become more hateful. You become more spiteful because that is at the core of conservatism.
Okay. I think the issue is a lot of women do intervene, but it doesn't.
I'm sorry. And lastly, like for me, I'm becoming more progressive the older I get. I'm becoming more and more progressive. I'm more progressive now than I was 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Well, 30 years ago, I was a teenager. But let's say 20 years ago when I was in my early 20s. I'm more progressive now than I was in my early 20s. And that's not typical. That's not common, right? But the reason why that is because of me unpacking my traumas and, which led me to unpacking my biases that were harmful and destructive. So now I'm free of those things, or I'm freer of those things. And with that freedom, it has led me to becoming more progressive and more accepting of everybody, women, children, LGBTQIA folk, aliens, animals. I don't give a fuck, right? I respect everything 10 times more than I did 20 years ago.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay. I think the issue is a lot of women do intervene, but it doesn't work.
Well,
so you're
saying
saying
it has to be the right woman. It has to be the right woman for the right man. It's the pairing.
it's the pairing. So if it's not working, move on, right?
That's my suggestion.
And you know what?
If it's not working, move on.
Move on.
Because they're never gonna change.
Yeah. Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
You can pray, you
It's
can hold
like
out,
an
be patient.
abusive relationship.
Yeah. It is.
And it's a sickness. And there are women, if they stay, he apologized. He said he was sorry. He's going to change. Never happens.
It's never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. He
Never.
reverts back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why it's a mistake for women, particularly women who are in an abusive situation.
You're saying that is abusive, and I agree with you. It is
It's never
abusive.
gonna change.
It's never gonna change. Okay. And you know what I asked you? I was like, oh, did you write the book? Did the girls write the book? I think the men have been writing the history book, but now I think we're taking the pen back.
The women are saying the things, and it just takes for the men to listen. Period, point blank. Stop listening to these loser ass men that don't never have anything to say, that just be leading men astray. Stop doing that shit. The women are giving you the blueprint. They're telling you exactly what it is. And there are men out there telling you, you just got to throw out the bad shit with the good shit. Because I've listened to all those men that I shared, for the most part. If you listen to like those full like clips, or even like I've watched those podcast episodes on Diary of a CEO, and I watched that whole interview with Scott Galloway and whatever, and a lot more content from those people. They say shit that I disagree with all the time, but when they're right, they're right. Right? You got to know how to vet your information. When they're right, they're right. When they're right, they're right. Right? And the reason why they don't really go far enough is because they don't address the misogyny. That's their only problem. It's like they get right to the cusp of the problem. Like, yeah, they identify what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, men are benefiting more from marriages. And then it's like, why is that? Well, I don't know. And it's like, no, it's misogyny. And Scott Galloway says something stupid like, yeah, women just like every woman needs to pair up with a man. Like, no, fuck out of here. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, men benefit immensely from marriage and women don't.